A very good morning. EURUSD has continued its overall leg in towards the downside for around the 8th consecutive day, creating new lows. But we're waiting for an overall upside push, and we're going to show you guys why. Now, starting here on the daily time frame, EURUSD remains in an overall bullish order flow, and I'm going to dive into these two images in a second. But we can clearly see that the overall market structure here on EURUSD remains bullish, hence why it is still perfectly valid to look for a new potential long in towards the upside, as we can expect that the new impulsive phase in towards the highs, which should put in a new higher high, has been starting or has commenced due to the fact that final liquidity within this overall push up, which was this low here, so this was the final liquidity low, that got taken out, and after that final liquidity low got taken out and we saw a sizable retracement into discount pricing, we can now obviously expect that the next impulsive phase in towards the highs has pretty much started, also due to the fact that the overall order flow here, which was previously this supply zone, got broken, and that we are now in an overall bullish order flow looking to establish and put in a new higher high. Now, obviously, yesterday I got a lot of comments about Fabio, your USD is already dumping in towards downside. Yes, nothing strange, guys, and nothing to worry about. Obviously, it is as supply is still simply holding. We never really broke above this area of supply over here, so there were also not really any longs to be taken. We need to wait for this clearly to break out, and then we can look for some longs. Until then, pretty much the order flow can just hold and keep pushing the markets down lower. However, from a higher time frame perspective, I'm still favoring for now an overall next upside push, and that also is backed by fundamentals. Now, as we can see here on this first chart, what we have are the interest rate differentials between the United States over here, which is the blue line, and we have the Euro area interest rates, which is the gray line. Now, as you can see, pretty much since the summer, the two were relatively flat, causing the overall market as well to pretty much consolidate here. However, what has been happening now is that the market is seeing the two lines move closer to one another, where the United States interest rates are going down and the Eurozone interest rates are remaining relatively flat. Now, what this means is that when a country, and in this case the United States, is lowering its interest rates, so the blue line is going down and getting close to the gray line, this is overall bearish for the US dollar, because the percentual return on your invested capital in the United States is going down, meaning that it's less interesting to put your money into dollars, causing the overall dollar, in my opinion, to devaluate. Now, we have a interest rate decision coming up in January, and the current probability of a further rate cut, so seeing this blue line go further down, is only currently set at 16%. However, this week we have a lot of labor data. So today as well, with JOLTS, for example, being released in the United States, if this labor data comes in worse than expected, this percentage should go up. And when this percentage here goes up, that is overall bearish for the US dollar, which should cause Euro USD to push up higher. So I'm currently waiting for the overall news to come in related to the job market in the United States. Now, once that job market data comes in, I'll be waiting for the overall trend shift to occur. And once the trend shift occurs, then I'll be looking to get into a long position on Euro USD. However, for the rest, overall higher time frame narrative still stands. And this is pretty much the reason then, based on these two images here, why I am looking for those overall longs on Euro USD still from a fundamental perspective. As for the rest, the Eurozone is going to keep its interest rates even or at the same level, whilst the blue line is still expected to go down. And when one line goes down and one line stays even, then you are going to be going short on the line that goes down and potentially long on the gray line. And an even stronger overall trade is when, for example, this gray line goes up and this blue line goes, let's say, for example, down. So that is your USD pretty much broken down for you. Overall, still looking for that. And we'll be keeping an eye open for that potential trade. The only situation in where we'll really be looking for shorts once again is once we see the overall weekly fractal structure shift, where we see a break of, let's say, this level here around 1.15. If 1.15 breaks, then I'll definitely be looking for some further short positions. But until then, pretty much for me as well, weekly demand here still remains intact. So just looking for some further long positions, and Euro USD could still dip further in that process. Looking at the dollar index remains relatively unclear. Still relatively consolidative. Looking at the 4-hour time frame, not much has changed, if I'm very honest. We are currently sitting in this 4-hour imbalance, which took out liquidity here to the left. But for the rest, there's not much, to be very honest, here on the dollar index. We had some equal highs here as well, which got taken out with this wick. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do see downside push, but you'll have to monitor this overall low break. If that low goes, then we could see some further downside to take out this. Otherwise, until then, just wait and follow the overall fractal structure up higher. Going into GBPUSD, GU is slightly different to EU, where we have a much more clear overall market trend with less consolidation. At the moment, GBPUSD bullish or bearish impulsing towards downside pullback, bearish impulsing towards downside pullback in towards this liquidity point, and now we can expect another downside push if we see a break of this low here. So once that low goes, then we'll look for the retracement, and then we'll get into some potential short opportunities. For myself, no longs here available on GBPUSD, but once that daily order flow shifts, then we can look for those short positions. Going into AUDUSD, we can see that AUDUSD has again pushed up a little bit higher. We had some bad inflation numbers come out last night on Australian dollar. Hasn't impacted the Australian dollar too much. We can see that after yesterday's market outlook, we still continue to push up further in towards the highs. Not much has changed, and yeah, I'm still only looking for potential longs, though at some point in time, I do expect there to be a retracement here on AUDUSD, though I am still looking at slightly higher prices from it. Though I must say at the same time, we have taken out this little bump in the road here, which is part of these descending highs. So this could cause somewhat of a short-term pullback. We're also squeezing in towards the highs. So I wouldn't really be looking to go long anymore here on AU until we see somewhat of a reaccumulation where we take out, for example, this liquidity low and then see clear buyers come back into the market. Going into NZDUSD, pretty much the same as on AU, though a little bit slower at the moment. I'll drop a fundamental update on NZD for you guys inside Discord. So I hope you're inside there, because we are not really accepting any new Discord members. But in the meantime, NZDUSD has been consolidating here. January is often relatively slow, guys, so don't expect too much. But overall, I'm still just focusing on longs, though I would still love to see another sweep in towards the downside for the real long plays in towards the upside. Going into USDJPY, we can see that UJ is consolidating and not really moving at all. So skipping this pair for now, though I am keeping an eye open for maybe some short-term downside plays. If we, for example, were to see one more push up, take out these equal highs here, and then at some point in time, look to take out all of these ascending lows. Then we have USDCAD. USDCAD has continued to push up higher. I was pretty much waiting for the next downside push here, though we can see clearly that we're starting to break up higher. Let's see where today's candle close closes, because otherwise it means that we can have formed an area of demand here from where we can look for some potential more upside again. And then this demand on here would have liquidated these equal ascending lows. And then, of course, we have USDCHF, where USDCHF is consolidating and stuck within this green box, pretty similar to USDJPY. Overall, main liquidity point for now remains this high, and otherwise this high here. So I would wait for shorts to happen from either this high here or that higher high over there. Then last of all, of course, gold. On gold, we're looking still for further upside. We saw a nice short-term dump in towards the lows. Pretty much any short-term dump that we see, we want to be getting into new potential positions. So this is a nice dump down again, where's liquidity here, for example, and now we're just liquidating the low, and then we're seeing a reversal. So let's say here we see the 1 hour change of character again, we could look for some new longs. But let's say we see another dump down, then from here, for example, I'll also be looking for some new buys. So pretty much every single liquidation and then change of character, that is bullish for gold. For me, it's just another buying opportunity. And same goes for silver as well, where I'm also still looking for new buying opportunities. Where here as well on silver, for example, in the 1 hour time frame, we took out some nice liquidity. We have liquidity. These are the three main lows that I have. So now we've taken out this low. So now what you want to see the 1 hour change of character, get above that, retest, and then just look to trade it into a new all-time high. That's it pretty much for today. Looking for longs on EURUSD still, just waiting for the overall trend shift confirmation to come in before getting involved. And for that job data, that should support EURUSD if obviously it comes out bearish for the dollar. And then that would be or could be the catalyst to provide us with new trading opportunities based on what I explained about those rate cut probabilities and interest rate differentials. If you want more information on that, make sure to let me know, and who knows, I'll create a more in-depth explainer on it. Thanks guys for watching, and wish you all a fantastic trading day. Not too much starting off the year. It's still 7th of January, so relatively calm. Gold and silver pretty much the only positions that I really like, and on the other pairs, the dollar pairs, still waiting for the market to kind of like align and form some good proper setups. Thanks guys, and wish you all a fantastic trading day.